Good evening and welcome to the monthly board meeting of the Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees. Please stand and join us for a moment of silence and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the Texas flag. Thank you. Trustees present, starting on your left and my right, are Trustees Joyce Foreman, Trustee Dan Mitchke, Trustee Justin Henry, and Trustee Dustin Marshall. Our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Michael Hinojosa, is here with us, and I'm Edwin Flores, Board President. Si hay alguien que necesita los servicios de algún intérprete, aquí el joven o la señorita les puede ayudar con el equipo. Gracias. So the first item on the agenda is to recognize the elected or public officials that are in the audience. Trustees, do you see any elected or public officials? I see the Honorable Rafael Lanchia, representative here. We see Michael Orozco. Who else do we see here? Trustees, if I'm missing anybody. Ana Reyes, Farmers Branch City Council. Great, thank you for being here. Claudia Sandoval of the city of Cockrell Hill is here. Wow, we have a lot of folks here today. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. Trustees, the first thing on the agenda today is item 2.04, the issuance of certificates of election. And after that, we will conduct the swearing-in presentation. Thank you. So this is a very special evening for the board. A general election was held on May 4th, 2019 in Trustee Districts 4, 5, and 7. And on May 15th, we held a called board meeting to canvass the election results. As a result of the canvass, candidates Maxie Johnson and Ben Mackey qualified to receive the certificate of election. In District 4, no candidate received a majority of the votes cast. Therefore, a runoff election will be held Saturday, June 8th, 2019. It is now time for our swearing-in ceremony for candidates Maxie Johnson and Ben Mackey. Tonight, I will issue the certificates of election to each candidate. The statement of elected office and the oath of office will be administered by a qualified person chosen by the trustee. Maxie Johnson and Ben Mackey, would you please join me at the front of the dais for the issuance of certificates of election? I need to read a little more script. This evening, I am proud to issue the certificate of election to Maxie Johnson, District 5, and Ben Mackey, District 7. This certificate of election is to certify that on January 24, 2019, the Dallas Independent School District called for a general election to be held on May 4, 2019, for the purpose of electing 3 members to the Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees in Districts 4, 5, and 7. And whereas candidates Maxie Johnson, District 5, and Ben Mackey, District 7, received a majority of the votes cast. In District 4, no candidate received a majority of the votes cast. Therefore, a runoff election will be held Saturday, June 8, 2019, between Carla Garcia and Camille D. White. With the issuance of these certificates, Maxie Johnson and Ben Mackey are now eligible to qualify for office. Thank you. Okay, so Trustee Johnson, will you remain standing? And we will issue this statement of elected office and oath of office to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Mackey and Rafael Chia will be next. So, Ms. Proctor, if you want to go ahead with the next part. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, will you please remain standing at the front of the dais for the issuance of the statement of elected officer and the oath of office? Mr. Mackey, you may be seated. Trustee Herring, will you please come forward to issue the statement of elected officer and the oath of office to Mr. Johnson?
Will you please raise your right hand? I state your name.
I, Maxie Johnson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered,
promised to pay,
contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, whichever the case may be. So help me God. This is the State of Texas oath of office. I state your name.
I, Maxie Johnson,
Do solemnly swear
that
I will faithfully execute
the
duties of the office of School Board Trustee
for
for the Dallas Independent School District
the Dallas Independent School District
of the State of Texas,
and
and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Thank you. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Henry. And congratulations, Trustee Johnson. Would you please remain standing for photos?
So you're going to take photos right now?
Trustee Henry, you may be seated, and Trustee Johnson, you may take your seat at the dais.
Thank you.
Yeah, through this campaign. Yeah.
Will the Honorable State Representative Rafael Chia and Mr. Mackey please come to the front of the dais for the issuance of the statement of elected officer and the oath of office?
Just at the outset, I want to say how proud I am of Ben Mackey, of District 7 constituents, and I'm so excited for this Board of Trustees. When I first got to the legislature, there were bills that were filed to break up DISD into 5 or 6 different parts. And during this session that we spent talking about schools, reform, and school finance, Dallas has been cited as the example. And the best days are yet to come. So thank you to all of the trustees who have played a role in that. And I'm excited that you're being added, Ben. So we're going to start with the statement of elected officer. All right. I state your name.
I, Ben Mackey,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly
that I have not directly
or indirectly paid,
paid,
offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, whichever the case may be. So help me God. Now we're going to do the State of Texas oath of office. So you can keep your arm up. Keep that circulation going. I state your name.
I, Ben Mackey,
Do solemnly swear
that
I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of School Board Trustee for the Dallas Independent School District of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So proud of you. Appreciate your help.
Thank you, Representative Anchia, and congratulations, Trustee Mackey.
I'm not done yet. Hold on. Just really quickly, I have two things to give to Ben, because that's how we do things. We cannot agree on a lot of things in the state legislature. Democrats and Republicans, we fight all the time. But we can't agree on one thing, and today's a great day that Ben Mackey was elected. So here is a resolution from the state of Texas.
Trustee Mackey, you may take your seat at the dais.
And here's a gavel. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Congratulations, Trustee Johnson and Trustee Mackey. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to formally congratulate Trustee Maxie Johnson and Ben Mackey as the new members of the Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees. And on behalf of the board, I want to thank Trustee Henry and Representative Rafael Anchia for participating in the ceremony for this evening. Thank you very much for being here. Trustees Johnson and Mackey, would you like to make any comments? Who wants to go first? Trustee Mackey? Press the little face.
There, does that work? That works. So good evening. I'm humbled to be here to be trusted with this monumental task of serving the kids of Dallas ISD in this role of Dallas ISD trustee for District 7. Every single day, parents send their kids from across the city to our schools and entrust us to keep them safe, to care for them, to teach them, and to prepare them for a lifetime of opportunity and success. This immeasurable responsibility and privilege has always driven my actions and decisions over the course of my career as a teacher and as a principal. And I pledge to bring this same focus to our Dallas ISD students, and in my role of a school board trustee, to not forget that. As I assume the seat, I do want to thank my predecessor, Trustee Audrey Pinkerton, for stepping into this role and devoting herself to the work that this task requires. I'd also like to thank the former trustees for this district for their service as well, specifically two that are here tonight, the Honorable Eric Cowan and State Representative Rafael Anchia. I hope to build on the legacy that all of you have established. If I were to thank everyone who believed in me and supported me through this process, we'd be here all night, and I think that's something our school board has maybe had some experience with before. So we'll try not to do that. So to everyone that has supported me and believed in me, from whether you're here or not, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I am so grateful for the time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears and laughter that you all poured in to me and to me earning and being trusted with this seat. So while I can't go through everyone by name, I do want to thank a few people by name. First and foremost are my parents, John and Ruth Mackey, who are here. Your love and guidance has made me who I am, and there's no way I would be here without you. To my girlfriend, Claudia, thank you for being a rock of consistency, humor, support, and inspiration. And to my core team, Caitlin, Mita, John, Tricia, April, Mandy, and Sandra, each of you have fought for our schools, for our kids, and for our community for years, and I am so grateful for your belief in me from the beginning. Finally, there are a number of my former students here in the audience who have had the pleasure of working with as a principal here in Dallas ISD. Thank you for your belief in me to serve in this role. Your efforts made an enormous impact on this campaign. Working and walking with you is an honor that I will never forget. And second, as a former teacher and principal, I'm always looking for lessons, and I hope that the experience has taught you how powerful your voices are, and I hope you use that power for the rest of your life. It's safe to say that I've learned more from you all than you all have ever learned from me, and I'm grateful for you sharing your time, energy, and dedication with me. So, you can clap for them. There are. So I'd actually like them to stand. So if you are my current student tag, I want to stand because I want to make my pledge for how I operate to you all and the other Dallas ISD students across our district who are here in our schools currently or who will be in our schools. And it's that I pledge to you and all the other Dallas ISD students that I will approach my work here as a trustee with fidelity, integrity, and a focus on how what we do and what we talk about here impacts you all. I pledge that I'll focus on policies and not politics. I pledge that I'll work to engage all parts of our community in District 7 and across Dallas ISD. And I pledge that I'll work closely with all of the other trustees here and administration in our relentless pursuit of a public school system that ensures that all of our students have access to an excellent education, regardless of where they live, what they look like, or what language they speak. The circumstances we are born into should never dictate the trajectory of our life. I have seen our schools and teachers beat statistics and change kids' lives every single day, and I'm excited to continue to work for equity, access, opportunity, and excellence for all of our students. Thank you all. You can sit down.
Yeah. Trustee Johnson.
I want to thank the constituents of District 5, to my children, David, Christopher, and Taylor, and to my new granddaughter, Harmony Johnson, who's here tonight. I want to thank Leadership ISD, South Oak Cliff alumni, the South Parent Coalition, the Roosevelt alumni, the Wilma Hutchins alumni, the Pinks alumni, West Dallas community. I want to thank Texas Organizing Project and Dallas Kid First, Educate Dallas, John Hill, and the Camp Fellows. I want to say thank you to Marvin Earl, my campaign manager, Ed Turner, who gave me everything, even while experiencing the loss of his wife, to Marquise Hawkins, who pushed me when I got weary, to Marie Apple for spending countless of hours helping me for debates, to Dr. Todd for all of his wisdom, and Mr. Todd Williams for being there for me when moments got tough. When my granddaughter was born, she was born and they had to put her on life support immediately. And we didn't know if she was going to make it or not. And Mr. Todd Williams called me to encourage me, and I appreciate him for that. I want to say thanks to Stephen Poole for being there late in the hours when I needed someone to talk to, and to the deacons of my wonderful church, the New Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church. My chairman of Deacon Board is here, and Deacon Williams, Hobart Williams Jr., Hobart Williams Sr., and Brother Hurd Williams. I want to thank you for your prayers. I also want to thank my brother and my sister, Don and Kim Washington, who just flew in town for, she just was with Jennifer Hudson, who did excellent. So I want to thank you. And to Dominique Alexander, the Next Generation Action Network. I also want to give a special thanks to one of my godmothers, Mother Nethel Jackson, for being there every step of the way, helping me when no one else would get out on her knees and put signs up. She was there grinding it out with me. And I want to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Lou Blackburn for 18 years of service. Because he was here, I'm here, and we're going to continue to do great things for kids. The community sent me down here to do a job. And that job is to advocate for safe learning environments, equitable resources, and quality programs, and true transparency and accountability. I'm a grassroots campaign guy. I'm a football coach. I'm a dad. I'm not a politician. I'm a parent. I'm someone that's been in the community for years, for decades. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to do exactly what you asked me to do. Advocate for all kids in Dallas ISD. We will make sure that we build futures through education. I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to get results for kids. Positive income, positive outcome for our children is what we need and what we're going to do. I want to thank everyone on this board who supported me. Even if you didn't vote for me, I want to thank you for voting. I hope I can be your trustee too. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you and welcome to our new trustees. Trustees or Dr. Hinojosa, would you like to make any comments? Dr. Hinojosa.
Yeah, I would like to welcome the new trustees to this team. Dallas ISD has a lot of momentum right now, but we still need to get better. Iron sharpens iron, and I think with your support and guidance and questions, I think we can continue to get better, and welcome to the team.
Any other trustees? Trustee Marshall.
I will just briefly say that I can't remember a day in DISD history that I've followed between what happened in Austin today and what's happening here right now that makes me more happy and more proud to be a part of this group. So welcome to the both of you.
Well, thank you, trustees. Welcome aboard. So this is the one point in time in which the school board turns over the meeting to our superintendent.
Yes, members of the board, this is the only time when the superintendent actually runs the meeting to preside over the election of officers. However, I've been asked by Trustee Marshall to recognize him for a motion regarding this election of officers process. Trustee Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that in light of the upcoming runoff election on June 8th that we table this discussion and extend the term of the current officers up until that point.
Without objection, this item can be postponed. Is there an objection to the motion? Hearing none, this item has been tabled until the runoff election is complete, and I'll turn the mic back over to the President.
Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa. So the next item on the agenda, our agenda now calls for the public forum segment of our meeting. To ensure that this meeting is held in an orderly manner, I'm asking speakers to please refrain from using individual names and to address the board and not individual trustees. Ms. Gully, will you please call the names of speakers?
Speakers, you will have 3 minutes to speak. When you arrive at the microphone, please state your name and address. Our first speaker is Jimmy Hosh, followed by Lakoya London. Is somebody leaning up against it? Is that lady leaning up against it? Yeah, she was leaning up against it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can probably go ahead with the speakers as long as the speakers can see their reading materials.
Okay. Where is Chris now?
2468. Can anybody hear me?
We can't see you.
That's all right. I've got infrared vision. President Flores and members of the board, I am Jimmy Hosh. I live at 6715 Rolling Vista Drive, Dallas, Texas. I'm with 350 Dallas. I am asking you to participate in the State of Texas Renewable Energy Co-op, called TREC, to purchase 100% renewable energy for 1/2 of the district's electricity. In other words, your base load. TREC was developed and introduced by the State Energy Conservation Office and the State Comptroller in November 2018, specifically to make it easy and inexpensive for school districts to purchase electric power from newly built renewable sources and benefit from the lowest cost power in the state, like other companies are doing today. TREC is an unusual state-initiated electricity purchasing opportunity that aggregates power from many entities to obtain wholesale pricing for renewable energy. TREC power costs 3 cents a kilowatt hour, not including transmission and distribution charges. That price is locked in for 12 years. The capital cost for participating in TREC is 0. The district's existing electricity contract is not affected at all. The power obtained through TREC will be included in your next electricity contract. The explanation of TREC by the consulting company Texas Energy Aggregation was enthusiastically received in March 2019 by managers in the maintenance and facility services. Since then, the district has hired the energy consulting company Van Brunt and Associates. Van Brunt website describes its 18 years of fossil fuel-based energy experience and authorship for the National Petroleum Council's natural gas study for the Secretary of Energy. Annette Van Brunt made a presentation at the 2019 Texas Energy Managers Conference. The audience asked her, "Have you ever seen a good renewable energy contract?" She answered no. So I'm not surprised she's advising you to focus only on cost and to purchase a mix of coal, gas, and wind energy offered by her suppliers. I am asking you to prioritize using 100% renewable energy for the district's base load to replace dirty fossil fuels that have polluted our air, made our children sick, and added excess carbon dioxide to the atmosphere that is driving global warming. By working together through TREC, both large and small school districts can afford to use renewable energy today from renewable facilities recently built. That will move us much closer to a 100% renewable energy grid. I hope the district will assume its leadership role in this endeavor and sign on to the Texas Renewable Energy Co-op.
LaColia London, followed by Charles English. Charles English. Is that Charles? Steve Robinson.
Good evening to the trustees, to our guests who've come out this evening. Joining me, and my name is Charles English. I'm the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Dallas. I reside at 2238 Eldros Lane, Dallas, Texas. Joining me today is Joyce Williams, our chairman of the board of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Dallas, and Cherry Rowe, our vice president of program. Thank you. I'd like to start out by saying thank you to DISD. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to be one of your partners. As you know, we've been around 55 years, and we have a 30-year relationship with DISD, starting with Maple Line. We still serve kids at Maple Line. But our expansion has now increased to 42 DISD schools, serving 42 schools in the district. And this summer, we will add to that total to make it 50. So that proves to me that our mission is in perfect alignment with what you expect of us, to enable all of our young people, and especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. And we make that promise to our kids all year long. In evidence of that, this past Tuesday, last Tuesday of last week, we were so honored and pleased to have served how many? 63 students of DISD in our Collegiate Steps program, which is a very, very rigorous, intense 18-session programs. And out of that, we had 110 total to graduate. Out of that number, 63. And of the number of high school students of DISD, there were 63, which is over half of the total number of students we served through this particular program. And we were very pleased to offer $340,000 in scholarship that leveraged close to $1 million in other scholarships that were granted by a number of colleges that have recruited your students. We have committed ourselves to the mission. We've committed ourselves to your students, and we want to thank you for giving us that opportunity. Now, you may be asking about Joyce Williams, the connection, Vice Chancellor of Dallas County Community College District, and we're also expanding our role in making sure workforce readiness, which is our area of emphasis, that we can have a plan for our kids when they graduate. And Sherry Rowe, you need to know that we were also a state winner.
Your time has expired.
State winner of the Strong Girl, which is addressing trafficking of our young people. Thank you so very much.
Steve Robinson, followed by Kimberly Cooper.
To President Flores and members of the board and all that are present, I am Steve Robinson, and my address is 608 Rowlett Road, Garland, Texas. I'm the head baseball coach at Dallas Skyline High School, and I bring greetings from the Skyline baseball family, parents, players, and coaches, the Skyline High School community at large, administration, faculty, staff, alumni, as well as the family of Mr. Anthony Tony Tovar Jr., his widow, Shannon, brothers Mike, JP, and other surviving family members. Members of our committee are here this evening to show our full support for the renaming of the baseball field at Skyline High School to read Anthony Tony Tovar Jr. Field. As most of you are aware, Mr. Tovar was an extraordinary man and educator within the Dallas ISD, spanning more than 4 decades. Mr. Tovar himself was a product of Dallas ISD as he attended Ireland Elementary, Hood Middle School, and graduated from Samuel High School. It is said that in middle school, Mr. Tovar had aspirations of becoming a truck driver so that he could see different parts of the country. He was influenced to become an educator by a middle school coach at Hood, and it was then that the passion for education was embedded. Mr. Tovar graduated from Texas Tech University and returned to Dallas to become a teacher and coach. He taught and coached at W.T. White and Skyline High Schools. While at Skyline from 1984 to 2000, he amassed over 400 career wins, multiple district championships, and coached a host of all-district and professional players. Upon leaving Skyline, Mr. Tovar became assistant principal at Adamson High School, subsequently principal of Sunset High School, where he earned recognition as Dallas ISD's secondary principal of the year. Following his retirement from Dallas ISD, Mr. Tovar continued to leave his mark, cement his legacy, acting as a substitute principal. I am blessed to have had the opportunity to interact with him while he was serving at Skyline. He was always very positive in our conversations, never boastful, and always unselfish, and offered me valuable advice on education, coaching, and life in general. Throughout Mr. Tovar's career, he undoubtedly impacted countless lives, both directly and indirectly. He continues to be a beloved figure in Dallas ISD, and we respectfully request that you help us honor the life and legacy of one of Dallas ISD's best sons, Mr. Anthony Tony Tovar Jr. Thank you.
Kimberly Cooper, followed by Nethel B. Jackson.
Good evening. To the stakeholders, member of the Board of Education, Superintendent Hannah House and staff, Nethel B. Jackson, live at 2851 Toluca, Dallas, Texas, 75224. I want to begin where I left off on February the 28th, 2019. To the board, if the superintendent so hell-bent on Senator Bill 1882 to turn this district into a charter school district, board member, you need to look for another superintendent that will be about public education and not charter. Superintendent Hannah Hauser, you, sir, were given a second chance to lead one of the largest school districts in the state of Texas. You will be remembered for the Senator Bill 1882 and stacking the deck. Like Mike Mosey, remember for passing one of the largest bond packets in DISD and coming from the arm of the court in 2003. For the record, member of the board, that vote for Senator Bill 1882, next you will be voting to send this build a charter to the voter, and for that, I'm ashamed. My next question to the board, who really running the DISD? For the record, why we still need the arm of the court to be monitored? Case in point, achievement gap for African American students, school feeder pattern, racial makeup of schools and staff, major renovation of schools, and so on. History is repeating itself once again. The African American students are being segregated in some of our schools. Mr. Superintendent, staff, what are your plans for 2019-2020 school year for the African American student? Thanks for those that stand for public education, Joyce. Thank you, Sister Farmer, who will stand on your shoulder for generations yet unborn. Finally, board member, seeing race is not the problem, Dan. Refusing to care for the people we see is the problem, Ben. Thank you.
Shakimberly Cooper.
Good evening. I would first like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak. I'm Shakimberly Cooper on behalf of AES Literacy Institute and A+ Educational Society, 7411 Hines Place, Suite 128, Dallas, Texas, 75235. We are a nonprofit community-based organization whose mission is to ensure that every individual has a high school diploma or its equivalency. You may or may not be aware of the new testing alternatives that is a solution to the high school dropout crisis. I humbly present The Race is On, a high school equivalency project aimed to help youth 16 to 24 obtain an alternative certificate when a high school diploma is no longer an option. By now, most seniors enrolled in high school know whether or not they'll graduate from high school. And the disappointment and embarrassment that they feel when they cannot is completely detrimental to their future. Without a high school diploma, these young adults cannot enter the military, attend college, or gain sustainable employment. Sometimes circumstances beyond the student's control can hinder them from completing traditional high school. Every hour, DISD loses 11 students. It's time that we take back our future and take control of our children. In 2016, the State Board of Education opened the opportunity to issue 3 different equivalency exams. Upon successful completion of an exam, a student will receive a diploma-like certificate that carries the same merit as a high school diploma. We get 100,000 new dropouts annually, and we are here to raise awareness, address the issue, and present a possible solution. I need the help of DISD to develop and implement a high school equivalency options program to help serve our underperforming youth. Many of other school districts in Texas have already implemented such a program and show promising results. We want to form an alliance to help the district thwart the dropout crisis. We can implement a unique referral system, a pull-out program, a school within a school, or develop a campus specifically for these students. Offering a HSEP program empathetically aligns with DISD's mission statement, educating all students for success, even the students that are failing or will fail and are at risk. Let's not allow the next generation of doctors, lawyers, and potential board members to fall through the cracks because they lack a single credential. We are who these young adults look up to, and if we fail them now, they will fail us later. We're offering a possible solution here with us. All is not lost, and there is still hope for them. Let's provide them with a replacement resource rather than letting them become another statistic. I've given the board packages with our information. It's in a gold envelope. If you please, at your earliest convenience, take a look at it. Thank you for your time.
George Castro, followed by Clifford Sherman. George Castro. Clifford Sherman.
George Castro.
Good evening, Board. My name is George Castro. 4323 Brown Street, Dallas, Texas. It is with great concern that I question the funding for the new Pinkston High School. Various schools started renovation projects well after the new Pinkston construction should have started. These campuses are more than halfway completed, and all we have is a field of broken promises. Our community has been handed broken promises in the past, but this is a new day, and we want what was originally planned and promised. We want the same high-quality facilities as you have for your individual campuses, and that is referred to the trustees. We want the instructors that are dedicated to the students and not just there for a paycheck. DISD, you have to do better. You have to do what's right for the students. The system has systematically ignored for decades. Before closing, our community is beyond excited and pleased to have Maxie Johnson as our new trustee. We stand behind you, Trustee Johnson, 100%. Thank you.
Clifford Sherman, followed by Delna Bryan.
I want to thank the board for listening to us today. My name is Clifford Sherman. I stay at 517 Meadowshire Drive, Dallas, Texas, 75232. I am alumni of LG Pinkston. I run an alumni service that give away computers. But we went to awards yesterday, and I was looking out the window and saw 12 and 14-inch grass growing. This is not what we stand for, is it? We shouldn't have our students going into the grass, whatever. But is this what our school going to become, even our new school? Maintenance is the most important part of taking care of a school. Kids wants to come in and be represented by something nice. I don't understand. I also want to ask the board to give us clear, precise financing of the new Pinkston, something that we haven't had since they all started saying that we're going to get this money. The money went up, went down, and went up again. We don't understand what's going on. Can we get some type of report, some type of hearing, some type of community gathering to give us information? Thank you.
Delna Bryan, followed by Carrie Schweitzer.
Good evening, Dr. Hinojosa, President Flores, honorable trustees. I am a proud teacher in Dallas ISD, and I would like to commend you, each and every one of you sitting up there, as warriors for all our students, to stand in unity with the new ones coming on the board, and let us join hands in this fight. The others that I hear not getting answers, I would encourage you to get out of your comfort zones and come visit us. I am at Young Men Leadership Academy. Most of you might know it as Florence Middle School. I went there to start the Spanish program. Come and see what is going on at this new all-boys school. Join us. I can talk about Senate Bill 1882. I can talk about House Bill 3, or I can talk about House Bill 2, or whatever I want to talk about. I can talk about the budget that is not yet proposed for Dallas ISD. But I want each and every one of you in here to know this group of trustees are doing an awesome job. We have new ones coming on the board. Let's come together and fight for all students in Dallas ISD. I stand to say thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias como educadora en este distrito. Merci beaucoup.
Carrie Schweitzer, followed by Kara Sheehan.
Hello, I'm Carrie Schweitzer. I live at 5639 East Side Avenue in Dallas, 75214. I'm a former DISD parent and a member of the climate action team of the First Unitarian Church of Dallas. And I'm here to request your leadership now in two ways that will improve the health of our students and the quality of life for all citizens in North Texas. Here's the context. For most of the last century, average citizens like us did not realize the damage caused by fossil fuel use and the combustion engine. But now we do. Fossil fuel transportation is a huge environmental and health problem. It doesn't work for us anymore, and it hurts us. Just 10 years ago, DISD did not expect its bus fleet would now be degraded, and we'd be struggling to keep the system running. And now we know electric transportation technologies are ready to replace polluting internal combustion engines. Electric school buses are now in service around the country, doing the job for about 25% less lifetime costs than diesel, and without the pollution we and our students suffer. Even better for Dallas, there's bond money to replace the worn-out buses with clean electric buses. Prudent leadership now calls for a pilot project with electric buses to learn the ins and outs of this new technology before wide-scale adoption. Just last week, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality announced it has grants for school districts to pay for up to 80% of the cost of electric buses. Additionally, DISD could power new electric buses with renewable energy. The state-approved Texas Renewable Energy Co-op is now offering school districts 100% renewable energy at 3 cents a kilowatt hour, guaranteed for 12 years, the lowest electric price since deregulation started. And that means no fuel cost risk for electric buses. Remember, electric buses produce zero pollution and less noise, benefiting our students' health and their learning success. Finally, Scott Lane, who leads your Operations and Services Division, has been fully appraised of all these developments since March. He has a history of supporting renewable energy solutions for schools. All the stars are aligned. I urge you to begin an electric bus demonstration project and to sign with Texas Renewable Energy Co-op. You can lead Dallas ISD into a cleaner, healthier future. And your bold leadership will be noticed, and it will benefit all of North Texas. Thank you.
Kara Shan, followed by Dayanira Puebla.
Buenas tardes, soy la señora Manuela Puebla, vivo en el 11512 de Rupley Lane de Dallas, Texas. Me dirijo a esta junta y vengo en representación esta tarde de mi familia que contiene estudiantes del condado de Dallas. Vengo a recordarles a esta junta y a todos los presentes que los niños con discapacidad corren un alto riesgo de convertirse en víctimas de intimidación en todas sus modalidades dentro de las escuelas, debido a que son vulnerables tanto física como intelectualmente. Basta ver el ejemplo de mi hijo, que durante los últimos 3 años ha sufrido las consecuencias a causa del sistema, del funcionamiento y sus procedimientos. Mi familia y yo estamos realmente cansados, física, económica y emocionalmente, con respecto a esta situación dentro de la educación especial, que nos ha fallado y nos ha lastimado en todos los sentidos. El día de hoy, ver la cara de mi hijo con las huellas y cicatrices para el resto de su vida y las consecuencias por negligencia dentro de un horario escolar, nos duele mucho. Me duele saber que en repetidas ocasiones actué conforme a procedimiento, dirigiéndome a las autoridades del Distrito Escolar de Dallas, a la señora Silvia Bugaza, a la señora Karen Carrión, que siempre tardaron en dar respuesta. A todas las autoridades, a las diferentes escuelas públicas que mi hijo asistió, a quienes siempre le solicité su ayuda, a quien siempre le solicité recursos administrativos y legales para apegarnos al sistema. Sin embargo, siempre lo dejaron expuestos a seguir sufriendo. Nuestra familia procedió respetando las leyes y procedimientos de este país. y ahora vemos los resultados. El sistema nos falló. Mi hijo, mi familia, somos víctimas de lesiones, discriminación, negligencia, así de fácil. No hay más adjetivos que agregar. Adicional a esto, ustedes deben de saber que mi hijo la semana anterior sufrió lesiones en su espalda. Nuevamente, actuamos conforme al procedimiento y el sistema nos volvió a fallar. Me parte ver el alma como mi hijo de manera traumatizada llega a este evento y en la intimidad de nuestro hogar. Las leyes de Estados Unidos protegen a las personas con discapacidad en contra de la discriminación y la intimidación dentro de las escuelas y hago este llamado al Departamento de Educación de los Estados Unidos. Solicito que el sistema no nos falle una vez más, que las autoridades conformen a la ley. Solicito a esta Junta su apoyo para que seleccione profesores calificados, entrenados en educación especial, que estén dispuestos a trabajar en pro de lo que fueron contratados, personal con vocación y compromiso, que no tema realizar los procedimientos correctos ante cualquier situación de peligro con un niño con discapacidad, para evitar este tipo de situaciones por las que nosotros estamos pasando estos últimos 3 años. Solicito ayuda para que coloquen cámaras, no por procedimiento, coloquen cámaras de observación dentro de los salones, aulas, lugares y sitios donde nuestros hijos reciben terapias y áreas de esparcimiento dentro de la escuela. Agradezco y agradezco a todos los presentes ciudadanos que nos han apoyado dentro de Texas y fuera de Texas, dentro de este país. Con miedo y temor, el día de hoy estoy aquí presente, hablando por mi familia y en apoyo a todos los demás. Thank you.
Nancy Rodriguez. Nancy Rodriguez, followed by Barry Jacobs.
Nancy Rodriguez, 6725 Bobolink Drive, Dallas, Texas, 75214. I want to thank the members of the administration for some of the changes in SPED that have taken place in the last month, but there is still much work to do. We need to change the culture in the district, and this is not a one-person job. We need the support of the trustees and administration. We need you to care and take a stand for children. Commit to implementing easy, quick fixes and practices that can have a big impact. Or you can continue on the path we're on, where mistrust, indifference, and abuse of parents and children reign supreme. Is this the legacy you want to leave? Is this the reputation you want to have? We parents and advocates for children are tired of this culture of disrespect and demand the following. Allow parents to record ARDs. The law supports this. Be transparent in your interactions with parents. Be honest. Operate with integrity. Make training for all special education staff mandatory. Respond to the cases of abuse and maltreatment. Invest in your teachers and make sure they are equipped. Put a camera in every contained classroom. Give these parents peace of mind. Hire more translators. Our demographic is Spanish-speaking, and they are clamoring to have their concerns heard. How can you fix special education and prevent instances of abuse when you won't engage with the community in a meaningful way? I understand there are budgetary constraints, but in the long run, by continuing to break the law and the district exposes itself to enormous liability. As trustees, your duty first and foremost is to the children of this district. Allowing DISD's culture of cover-up, deflection, and unaccountability violates that duty, and in the long run will cost the district more than just doing the right thing. Thank you.
Barry Jacobs, followed by Molly Rook.
Good evening. My name is Barry Jacobs. I live at 6725 Bobolink. I'm a taxpayer and a parent of a soon-to-be 4th grade girl at Solar Prep. You heard from my son last week. You've heard from my wife Nancy tonight and several other times, probably more than you like. I'm also an attorney. As a young lawyer, my pro bono practice included litigation under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. So I know my way a little bit around special ed law. Trustees, you have heard the anger and frustration of literally dozens of parents of special ed students over the past few months. You heard again from them tonight. Maybe you're tired of hearing from them. Maybe you've become bored with this ritual of being harangued by angry parents. I get it. But as tiresome as it is for you to face this one evening a month, imagine what it's like for them, struggling day after day, week after week, and year after year with a school district that doesn't provide their kids with the services that they need, that the law requires. Imagine how tired they are of having their concerns dismissed, of being disrespected and lied to, and as you heard tonight, of having their kids come home covered with bruises. Trustees, these parents are giving us a gift. DISD's violations of special ed law are ubiquitous, they are flagrant, and they are actionable. They range from failures to schedule ARD conferences in the timeframes the law requires, to failing to comply with IEPs and 504s, to not providing speech therapy that has been scheduled and probably billed to Medicaid, to refusing to allow parents to record ARD conferences when they need to in order to understand, as the law requires. The parents you have heard from could all be retaining lawyers. And let me tell you, with the fee-shifting provisions in the IDEA, the district would likely end up paying for those lawyers. They could be dragging the district into court to compel you, at great expense to the public, to do what we all know we should be doing already, what the law requires. Trustees, this is a failure of leadership, and as such, it can only be fixed by you, the leaders of the district. The problem is partly that Superintendent Hinojosa and you, trustees, while you're doing great things in general education, have been completely oblivious to what goes on in special ed. That's one of the reasons these parents have come here, to help you see. But the bigger problem is one of culture. Too many of the district view a parent complaint as a nuisance, the complaining parent as a troublemaker, when in fact that complaint is a gift, and the parent, the parent is your very best friend, because if you listen to them, they will save you from facing a true troublemaker like me, or some young lawyer with fire in his belly who figures out that he can make a lucrative career out of suing you.
Molly Rook, followed by Rebecca Rodriguez.
Hi, I'm Molly Rook, a Dallas resident at 5825 Palm Lane. I would like to welcome the new Board of Trustees members and want to tell all of you that I and many other concerned, informed, and motivated residents are ready to help Dallas ISD implement some new and better environmental policies and practices which would benefit not only the students' health and opportunities for learning, but some initiatives which could also save the school district money. I agree with the earlier speakers about the need for electric school buses. Along with others, I met with staff in January regarding the purchase of electric school buses, and I continue to request that you support the replacement of the current diesel school buses with clean electric school buses as soon as possible, starting with the pilot program. Young developing lungs are especially vulnerable to air pollution, and many young students suffer from asthma, so electric buses would benefit them as well as the health of the bus drivers, others at the school, and those in the neighborhoods and communities on the bus routes, especially those in already polluted communities of color. I also agree with the earlier speakers that clean renewable energy, such as that very low-priced option available through the Texas Renewable Energy Co-op, can also help to provide electricity without damaging our air or climate. Another thing, get the lead out of DISD drinking water. Young children are particularly vulnerable to lead in drinking water because the physical effects impairing how they learn, grow, and behave occur at lower exposure levels in children than in adults. DISD has taken good first steps in opting into voluntary testing, being transparent about those results, and remediating instances above the EPA maximum limit of 5 parts per billion. But it's time for DISD to take the next step in setting a health-based standard of 1 part per billion, a standard that recognizes the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendation and reflects that there is no safe level of exposure for our students. At schools which have tested between 1 to 15 parts per billion for lead, I hope you would support replacing old water fountains and lead-bearing fixtures and install filters certified to remove lead at every tap used for cooking or drinking. It's also important to implement a plan to effectively recycle paper and other recyclables and to reduce food and plastic waste, including education about how and why to properly do that. Thank you very much.
Rebecca Rodriguez.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Rebeca Rodríguez. Dirección es 2202 Housley Drive, Dallas, Texas, 75228. Soy mamá de un niño con autismo. Es alumno de la escuela Reinhardt Elementary, donde fue golpeado por la maestra Paula Macalo el día febrero 19 del presente año. A mí se me avisa del incidente al día siguiente, día 20 de febrero a las 6:30 de la tarde. Quien me avisó fue Miss Ríos, quien es asistente de la principal Montgomery, la cual yo fui después a enfrentarlas porque fue una injusticia que hicieron, violación a mis derechos, que yo tengo el derecho de saber lo que pasó con mi hijo al momento. Fue violación, derechos conforme la ley. Necesito tener transparencia de lo que pasó. No fue justo lo que hicieron con mi hijo, porque yo hasta el momento no tengo nota, no tengo reporte de lo que pasó con mi hijo. Yo a ver a mi hijo llorar frustrado, no saber yo qué pasó con él, le dije a la asistente, ¿por qué no me hiciste saber el momento de este incidente? Dijo, yo no puedo darte más información. El reporte ya está con CPS y tú no tienes que saber ya más nada, yo no puedo hablar contigo más de lo que pasó. Es violación, por favor, necesito más, que tengan más conciencia, tanto los asistentes como maestros, así como el principal, que tenga la atención cuando uno se le va a dar la queja de lo que pasa lo que pasa con nuestros hijos dentro de la escuela. Yo varias veces fui a hablar con la principal, de lo cual ella nunca resolvió nada, nomás decía voy a hablar con ellos. Mi hijo sufrió bastante. Tengo fotos donde él llegó con su ropa sucia, mojada, enlodada, su pantalón desabrochado, descalzo, ha bajado del camión. Siento frustración por ver a mi hijo cómo llegó de la escuela. Por favor, necesito que hagan algo porque eso no es justo que hagan esto. Conforme al caso, me están diciendo que está cerrado. No lo veo justo porque a mí tampoco no se me notificó y ni me hicieron saber el proceso con cuál iba. Yo llamo buscando a la trabajadora social que me asignaron, se llama Jocelyn Rivera, me dice, ok, tu caso ya está cerrado, nomás busca quien te dé el reporte. No lo veo justo así. Y sugiero que tengan más cámaras, y que tenga mejor comunicación el maestro con el padre para tener más comunicación de cómo ver a nuestros hijos dentro de la escuela. Tengo que me dejen grabar a los papás.
Thank you. Your time has expired. Our last speaker is Leticia Gomez.
Good evening. I'm Leti Gomez. I'm founder of Parent Support Group for parents with special needs children. I'm trying to speak English. It's bad, but I'm trying. I appreciate Miss Elizabeth Casas being in charge of special education. But today, I ask that Yvonne Duran and Tanya Brown resign as the results of their work are obvious. There is not support in the schools, no training, zero positive expectation for the special education community. I ask that the Parent Senate is reopened with new staff, as the current staff only has Tanya Brown back. I ask for cameras in all special education classrooms. I ask for available bilingual translators in all schools. I ask that they allow recordings during ARD meetings just like the law says there should be. I ask that the abuse towards these special education students stops and that there should be equal rights just like to the regular students. Buenas noches, soy Leti Gómez, fundadora del grupo de padres para papás de niños especiales. Agradezco que la señora Casas esté a cargo de educación especial, pero esta noche estoy exigiendo la renuncia de Ivonne Durán y Tania Brown, puesto que los resultados de su trabajo son obvios. No apoyo a las escuelas, no entrenamientos y cero expectativas positivas para la comunidad de educación especial. Exijo esta noche que se reabra el centro de padres con nuevo personal, porque el staff actualmente solo cubre el cero trabajo de Tania Brown. Exijo cámaras para todos los salones de educación especial, traductores disponibles capacitados en todas las escuelas, que se permita grabar las juntas de la ARD como dice la ley, no como dicen sus pólizas. Exijo que pare el maltrato a nuestros estudiantes en educación especial y que se den recursos de manera equitativa como para educación regular. Espero que esto suceda pronto. Espero su respuesta. Son servidores públicos. Por favor, atiendan nuestras necesidades. Gracias.
This concludes our speakers.
Thank you, Ms. Gully. The board will now retire to closed session. The public is welcome to wait in this room while the board is in closed session. The board will retire to closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551 concerning any and all purposes permitted by the Act, including but not limited to the following sections. Texas Government Code Sections 551.071 for private consultation with its attorney about pending or contemplated litigation or on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter, including Texas Education Agency Complaints INV 2019-02036, INV 2016-08004, and ER 2018-02007, and Procurement Department Review. The time is now 7:24 p.m., and we are in closed session. The time is now 8:11 p.m. and we're back in open session. The board took no action in closed session. So we're going to move on to item 5.01, Superintendent's Report, Academic Achievements, Accolades, Events, and Legislative Update. Dr. Hinojosa.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, my report will be very brief. First of all, I want to thank all of our students and staff. We're concluding another successful year, and it's winding down, and you'll be representing us well at graduations, and we'll have administration there to help you support you in those ceremonies. Secondly, the legislature, I'm sure you have heard, they had a news conference today to announce that they have an agreement. I will give you high-level information because that's all I have. I got called down to Austin on Monday, and I had a chance to give very limited input to three members of the conference committee. But the bottom line is there were many negotiations that went back and forth. And so in the end, we are going to have current year values, which are going to be hard to execute, and it is costly to the district. To mitigate that impact on the district, and many of us that are in this boat, they have increased the basic allotment to even higher than what the House had. The impact of such is still undetermined. What is determined is there will be more significant property tax relief, potentially 8 cents in the first year and 13 cents in the second year. There's actually $4.5 billion that go to public schools. There's $5 billion that go to property tax relief, and then a hybrid solution of $2 billion that go to teachers. However, that changed from the House version and from the Senate version, came up with a new version. The new version is if you have 6 years, if you're going into your 6th year of experience, you're going to get an increase. And only those individuals will get that increase. And it's an average of $4,000. However, that $4,000 is also includes benefits, and it includes other bills that weren't part of the school finance bill. So now they're putting other things into this pot that we have never heard about. So that is new, that is coming out. But the good thing is that they're not going with the Senate plan that was very restrictive, and you have more flexibility, and they're going to an average, and they're including benefits. It's going to take us several days to figure out. Once we see, because we haven't seen language and we haven't seen runs. We've seen a news conference, and so we will get all that information this weekend, we were told, and by our budget workshop next week, we will try to lay that out for you in the most coherent way as possible. The other thing that's also alive is merit pay. Voluntary for the districts that want to do it. Very few districts will have a capacity to do it in year one, but we'll be one of those districts. It depends on how they write the rules as to how quickly we could access those dollars. The other thing that's undetermined at this time is what is fungible. For example, they're funding full-day pre-K. So if we already had money set aside, at least for part of that, are we allowed to use some of those funds for other initiatives? We will try to determine that for you over the weekend, and try to have a coherent presentation to you next Thursday when we develop our budget. Estimates, I have no clue. No one has seen a run. The last time we saw an estimate, the Senate plan, we only got $5 million. In the House, we had $114 million. But in the Senate plan, part of that was the restriction of the $5,000 across the board, and the basic allotment was much lower. Based on conversations, and this is purely speculation, based upon conversations I've had with consultants and staff members, is that we estimate that we will still do fine. This bill is better than no bill. We are better off than where we started this journey back in January. There will be property tax relief. We see north of $50 million of new dollars. It could be significantly higher than that, but we just don't know with all these moving parts and all the negotiations here at the 11th hour. But I am pleased that at least they did come up with a resolution, and they didn't punt this for a special session or the next session. So we think it's going to be significant. It's certainly not as robust as what we had anticipated, hoped in the House of Representatives, but there are a lot of details to be hashed out. But I am more pleased that we do have this legislation than if we would have just do nothing. So we'll get you as much detailed information as we can in the coming days, and that concludes my report, and be glad to entertain any questions that I can answer at this time.
Trustee Mitchell.
I would just like to thank Superintendent Hinojosa for his hard work in helping push this legislation forward. He was it seemed like every week we were getting a note that he was going to be down in Austin testifying. So appreciate the extra effort you put into trying to get more funding for public schools. Thank you.
Trustee Marshall?
I just want to echo that. I've been just so proud of the effort that you've put forth, Mr. Superintendent. And, I think I mentioned last time it'd be easy for you to just say that your job description entails helping the kids of Dallas. But for the last several months, you've gone well above and beyond and helped all the kids in Texas. And not only as a representative of DISD have you been asked to testify, but you've really been a coalition builder with many other superintendents and districts, not only in North Texas but throughout the state. And I'm just super proud of you and proud of what everybody that has advocated for this reform has been able to accomplish. So it may not be exactly everything that we wanted, but it is a major step in the right direction, and I think you're largely to thank for that. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Trustee Henry?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate Trustee Marshall and Trustee Mitchell's point, just to thank you for your commitment to public education, not only in Dallas and the state of Texas, and taking multiple trips. I know you said you had a conversation with a few conference committee members, but I think they wouldn't have asked you down there if they didn't value your opinion. So I think that's probably more pivotal than maybe you let on. So I really appreciate you going on there multiple times. I also appreciate my colleagues on this board that took multiple trips down there to sit down with some of these legislators to provide our perspective as trustees in DISD. Again, like Trustee Marshall mentioned, it's not perfect, but often when it's not perfect and everyone's not happy, that means it's probably a good negotiation. So I think it's a big deal, a good deal for the state of Texas, and thank you for being that committed to it.
Trustees, any other comments or questions? I'll also thank the superintendent for his leadership. I know every time that I had the opportunity to go down to Austin, people have said, yes, Dr. Hinojosa had already been here. Yes, Dr. Hinojosa had already spoken. Yes, we've already heard from Dr. Hinojosa. So thank you for your leadership. Next item, 5.02, Board of Trustee Committee Reports. Do we have any committee reports? We do. Trustee Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll give the Audit Committee report. The Dallas Independent School District Audit Committee met May 2nd, 2019 at 4 p.m. Those present included myself and Board President Edwin Flores. The agenda, attachment, and video of the meeting are available for viewing on the district's website. Following is a summary of the meeting. The committee approved the prior meeting's minutes. The following reports were then presented and approved on a single vote. CFO Dwayne Thompson gave a report on the district's financial condition. The district's external financial auditors, Jerry Gaither and Jennifer Ripka from Weaver and Tidwell, provided an introductory report regarding this year's upcoming financial audit, including the audit schedule and the process. IA Chief Stephen Martin and Auditor Sam Wilson presented the new internal audit manual. IA Deputy Chief Gilbert Chiquito and Dallas ISD Interim Police Department Chief John Lawton reported on the new NAVEX Ethics Point hotline system and how a call received by the PD's dispatch unit from the hotline was mishandled and how the PD has since corrected that issue. Chief Martin and Auditor Brandon Jones updated the committee on contract and purchase order audits of the construction and maintenance departments. Chief Martin and Investigator Andrea Whelan briefed the committee on the Dunbar ES Elementary School roof contract investigation. Chief Martin and Audit Manager Don Woods briefed the committee on the status of prior audit recommendations and their resolutions. Chief Martin reported on internal audits adherence to the Institute of Internal Auditors Standards and Codes of Ethics. Chief Martin gave a report on IA's current staffing. And finally, Chief Martin and Audit Manager Robert Rubel presented 4 audit reports. The committee approved the 2019-2020 internal audit plan. Chief Martin recommended no changes be made to the internal audit charter CFC exhibit, and the committee subsequently voted to retain the charter as is, and then the meeting was adjourned. This concludes my report.
Thank you, trustees. Any other committee reports? If not, we will move on to item 5.03, trustee reports from districts 1 through 9 on community interest topics, such as expressions of thanks, congratulations, condolences, information regarding holiday schedules, honorary salutary recognitions of public officials, employees, citizens, except to discuss something or other, and a reminder of any upcoming events organized or sponsored by the government body. So we'll start on my right, your left, with Trustee Ben Mackey.
Thank you, President Flores. So congratulations are in order for Trinity Garza Early High School Gates Scholar Victor Nunez. He was one of the 7 Dallas ISD students to receive this prestigious honor, which covers all college-related costs. Kudos to Molina High School for winning the Gold Award from the American School Counselor Association for their excellence in student advocacy and leadership. They were also honored as a recognized ASCA model program. And finally, Medical City Children's Hospital Kids Teaching Kids program includes a 21-day healthy eating challenge, and all Dallas ISD elementary schools are encouraged to participate. I'm proud to announce that the winning schools district-wide are 2 District 7 schools, James Bowie, top performer for the 5th year, and Sidney Lanier for the past 2 years. In April, these schools receive $500 each to continue healthy activities on their campuses. This fall, the North Texas Partnership will include a new factor, a contest between Arlington ISD and Dallas ISD.
Trustee Foreman.
Good evening. Earlier this week, Ronald E. McNair Elementary School lit up the stage at the AT&T Performing Arts Center in a showcase performance featuring a musical number from their production of Disney's The Lion King Kids. The student performers also wowed local audiences with full shows at their campuses. I also want to congratulate Ms. Nell Matson, a loyal supporter of Humphrey Lee Elementary School and also one of my high school classmates, on being recognized as the Dallas ISD Volunteer of the Year for School Support. Ms. Matson has lived near Humphrey Lee for decades. Her own children attended the school and graduated from Carter High School. Yet she continues to support the elementary campuses almost daily as PTO president, a grandparent of 2 students who currently attend the school, and a volunteer, doing all that she can to serve as needed. District 6 is quite fortunate to have Ms. Matson as a resident and a partner in our schools. Congratulations, Neil Matson. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to recognize a couple of former elected officials, which is Audrey Pinkerton and Lou Blackburn, 2 partners with me as we went through trying to make sure that DISD did the right things by children and considered transparency as something that was needed for this district. I do wish them the very best, and I hope that they will not go away. I hope they will continue to work and serve children. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Michke.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to the counselors from Conrad High School for receiving a Counselors Reinforcing Excellence for Students in Texas, the CREST Award, at the 2019 Counselor of the Year Award ceremony. Kudos to District 3 robotics teams from Robert T. Hill Middle School, Casa View Elementary, and Alex Sanger Preparatory for receiving a tour and a $10,000 check from the Amazon Robotics Fulfillment Center. And special thank you to Amazon for their support. Congratulations to Brian Adams for their official validation as a national demonstration school by AVID for their exemplifying of a college-going culture. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Henry.
So there's abundance of great year-end news coming out of District 9. I'm proud to share just a few of those accolades. First, I want to start by congratulating Skyline High School librarian Heather Horner, who was recently honored as Dallas ISD's 2019 Librarian of the Year. She got an award for being Librarian of the Year, but she's Educator of the Year, Advocate of the Year. She sent me multiple emails advocating both for her kids and the community around Skyline. She's a phenomenal educator and even a better person. I want to also congratulate 2 seniors from Lincoln High School, Garrett Walker and Naomi Jones. They've each received $20,000 in scholarships from the University of North Texas from the Fairway to Success program based on academic performance, extracurricular activities, community involvement, and financial need. Fairway to Success teaches students the important life lessons through the game of golf. Also want to congratulate Skyline senior Rogelio Mendoza. He has been awarded the prestigious Gates Scholarship, which will cover all college-related costs at the college or university of his choice. He is one of only 300 seniors nationwide to earn the Gates Scholarship, which also applies to graduate school. So as long as he wants to get an education, that foundation will pay for it. So congrats to him. He's also an excellent young man. He's very engaged in the community and advocates as well. Next, I want to give congratulations to John Ireland elementary teacher Ebony Jones Davis. She's received furniture, flexible seating, speakers, and headphones for her classroom through the Random Acts of Kindness of Helpfulness campaign sponsored by the North Texas Honda dealers and Helpful Honda. You might have seen this on Twitter or Facebook as our social media team promoted this, and it kind of caught a lot of traction. She was very excited about getting these awards. The campaign honors deserving teachers who serve as a worthy role model for their students. And heading back to Skyline, I want to acknowledge Jose Sologuren. He has been selected from 1,000 teachers across the Metroplex for the SMU Teacher Excellence Award. The award includes $1,000 that he has pledged to use to support 3 new foreign language programs at Skyline: German AP, Italian AP, and Korean. Booker T. Washington sophomore, and this was also on our social media, and music conservatory student Alina McSpaden. She'll spend the summer in Germany through the U.S. Department of State's Congress, and I don't speak German, so I'm going to say this wrong, Bundestag Youth Exchange Program. Next school year, she'll serve as a citizen ambassador in Germany, living with the host family and attending a German high school. She's one of the very few students across the nation that received this award. And last, I guess kind of ending on a more somber note, I want to acknowledge the passing of one of our leaders and educator in the district, and I'll just kind of read what some folks have shared. She was a phenomenal woman, leader and educator. She was one of the founders of Solar Preparatory School of Girls at James B. Bonham. Her friends and her family and all of us who had an opportunity to feel Miss Turner's impact. Her impact is deep and her legacy is limitless. I think we all can look to her life and understand what it means to live a life of great purpose. So she passed, and she's just a phenomenal person. So I hate to end on a tough note, but I wanted to acknowledge her life and the legacy that she's going to leave.
Thank you. Trustee Johnson?
In District 5, 4 District 5 students have earned the prestigious Gates Scholarship, which covers all college-related costs for the university or college of their choice. The highly selected Gates Scholarship is for Pell-eligible minority high school seniors. Only 300 seniors nationwide earned the scholarship. Kudos to Sharifa Mason, 12th grade government teacher at New Tech High School at B.F. Durrell, on being named a 2018-2019 Life Changer of the Year. The award from National Life Group includes a $3,000 cash prize. Ms. Mason is one of 15 award winners selected from 830 U.S. nominees. I know her personally. She is an excellent teacher. And last but not least, congratulations to our 2019 Dallas ISD Council of the Year, Helene Marbury of the school for the talented and gifted, and Dwayne Johnson of Franklin D. Roosevelt High School on receiving the Counselor's Choice Award. And I, too, will hate to end on this note, but let's keep in prayers and Coach Hill, who coached track at South Oak Cliff High School, who just recently passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Marshall?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll give the District 2 report. I want to start where Trustee Henry ended in offering my condolences to Ms. Turner's family and the entire Solar community on their loss. She was an inspirational educator, and she'll certainly be missed. I want to offer congratulations to the North Dallas Lady Bulldogs softball team, which ended a 7-year playoff drought by finishing as the district runner-up, so way to go, ladies. Congrats to the Woodrow Wilson Theater Group that had their final performance of the highly anticipated spring musical Into the Woods. I was able to go on Friday night with my 11-year-old daughter on a daddy-daughter date night, and as usual, the cast truly outdid themselves. It was a spectacular performance. Also want to recognize Woodrow graduating senior Joshua Suarez, who is heading to college after battling and beating cancer, and he wants to study biology to help others who go through what he endured. Want to recognize Woodrow Wilson, which was once again named one of America's best high schools by the U.S. News and World Report. They had a top ranking out of 23,000 schools nationwide, and their college readiness rank placed them 217 out of 2,057 schools. On May 2nd, 62 graduating seniors were awarded a scholarship of $6,000 each from the State Fair of Texas Pete Schenkel Scholarship Fund. A total of $500,000 was awarded, and among those 62 seniors receiving the award, over half of them were from District 2. So there are far too many to name individually, but I'm impressed that over 50% of them came from my trustee district. So congrats to those students. Also want to congratulate North Dallas High School senior Luis Rosales, who was named the Sports Day DFW First Team Forward. He competed against all high school athletes in Divisions 4A, 5A, and 6A. On May 8th, the Woodrow Wilson Wildcat baseball team became the 2019 by-district champions, so awesome job for them. And on May 9th, the Woodrow Wilson crew team competed at the Central Youth Championships in Oklahoma City, and many rowers placed, and actually Benjamin Wilson won first place in the men's freshman 4-person crew and second place in the men's youth novice 9-person crew. Also want to recognize 4 seniors from North Dallas High School that had the opportunity on May 12th to visit the Capitol. The group designated and submitted a school safety app called School Alert for the Congressional App Challenge. They were graciously hosted by their district house member, Colin Allred, for a student demo day. So excellent work for those students, and thank you to Colin Allred for hosting them. Also want to recognize 7 Woodrow Wilson baseball players that were selected for the Elite 11 5A baseball all-district team, and J.L. Long's middle school coach, Garcia, who was named Middle School Athletic Coordinator of the Year. On May 18th, Lakewood Elementary School came in second place at the Great State of Texas for the Kids Heart Challenge. They raised almost $50,000 for the American Heart Association, so way to go, students at Lakewood. And lastly, want to thank the City of Dallas Parks and Recreation Board, as well as the Texas Trees Foundation, for launching their Cool School initiative. On May 20th, I was pleased to be there to cut the ribbon at Dandy Rogers Elementary School, where we unveiled that not only that school, but 4 other elementary schools that have partnered with the City of Dallas and the Park Board to open these cool new school parks that are used by students during the school day and by the community in the evenings, weekends, and summer. At Dandy Rogers, there were 90 trees that were planted, a walking trail was added, and a new playground. And I hear through the grapevine that program could be expanding to up to 20 more high schools, 20 more elementary schools within the districts. And lastly, I just want to also offer my appreciations to former trustees Pinkerton, Blackburn, and Resendez for their service. That concludes my report.
Thank you, trustees. I'll now give the District 1 report. I'd like to congratulate Demetrius Robinson Peters from Chapel Hill Preparatory for being a Counselor of the Year finalist, and Valerie Smith from Tom C. Gooch Elementary, who received an award from the Texas Counseling Association. I also want to recognize Helene Marbury, Counselor of Talented and Gifted High School, for being Counselor of the Year. I was able to be there at the event, and she was also my younger daughter's counselor when she was a TAG and did a fantastic job, certainly above and beyond any other counselors that I've personally had an opportunity to work with. Of course, it's graduation season, so I'd like to wish good luck to the graduates of 2019 for Thomas Jefferson and WTY high schools and all the graduates district-wide. I wish each one of you great success on the journey after high school. I also want to thank the North Texas PGA for the Fairway to Success scholarships, similar to those for Lincoln, for Thomas Jefferson High School, and I believe Samuel High School was also involved. Thank you for those scholarships and the work that you do with hundreds of our students every year. And finally, I want to congratulate the LCC for Marsh Preparatory Academy. 60 cadets competed in 6 categories and placed in all 6 divisions. They were first place in the unarmed exhibition drill, first place in unarmed color guard, first place in armed regulation drill, first place in armed exhibition drill, first place in armed color guard, and second place in unarmed regulation drill. And that is the District 1 report. Great job, Marsh Preparatory Academy, LCC. So we will move now on to the approval of the minutes, Section 6 of the agenda. Consider and take possible action to approve the minutes submitted for approval. Trustees, the following minutes have been submitted for approval. Board meeting April 25th, 2019. Audit Committee meeting May 2nd, 2019. Called board meeting May 9th, 2019. Called board meeting May 14th, 2019. Called board meeting May 15th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion by Trustee Mitchke, a second by Trustee Marshall. If there are any corrections, if not, please cast your vote.
The motion passes 7-0.
Thank you very much. So we'll now move on to item 7, statutory items which may be appropriately come to the attention of the board. The next item is consider and take possible action to approve the Dallas ISD nominee to fill a director position on the Texas Association of School Boards, TASB, for Region 10, Position C, for a 3-year term. No funding required. Nominations are now in order for the director position of the Texas Association of School Boards, Region 10, Position C.
Mr. President, I nominate Trustee Dan Mitchke.
Okay, we have a nomination. Do we have I guess we don't need a second for this. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none. Trustee Mitchke, by acclamation, is selected as our Dallas ISD trustee to fill the director position for the Texas Association of School Boards for Region 10, Position C, for a 3-year term. Congratulations, Dan. Master Trustee Dan Mitchke. JD, Master Trustee.
JD, PhD.
PhD. So the next item on the agenda is to conduct the board's constraint self-evaluation in accordance with the TA Lone Star Governance Implementation Integrity Instrument. I understand, Dr. Lear, that we have it in front of us, and trustees, you should have our self-constraint that says the board, either collectively or through the actions of individual trustees, shall not, A, be engaged in day-to-day administrative and operational issues. And we ask that you either say that you complied or did not comply, and then sign the form, please. And just leave them at your desk, and Dino will pick them up.
Pam, I have some questions. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so trustees, then we're on to item 8. Consider and take possible action to approve consent agenda items 8.01 through 8.38 as amended. We have consent agenda items 8.01 through 8.38 as amended. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mitch K. We have second. Yeah, just one moment. We have a motion by Trustee Mitch K. Second by Trustee Marshall. Ms. Foreman, although, do you have a point?
I have a point.
Point of order?
Point of order,
Okay.
point of information, a point in regards to the consent agenda. I do want the public to know that the items that I had pulled for a separate vote and to be discussed were not pulled because the board made the decision on the 15th, I believe, to go ahead and swear in the new trustees without my knowledge. Maybe I should have been at the meeting, but the board did go ahead. And so Trustee Blackburn had pulled these items. I want to be very clear that I will not be voting for the consent agenda based on the fact that there are items that I wanted to discuss and was not able to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Foreman. I don't know if there was a motion or a point of information, but please cast your votes.
Wasn't a motion.
The motion passes 6 voting yes and 1 voting no.
Thank you, trustees. That concludes our agenda. The time is now 8:40 Apple Standard Time p.m., and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.